Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. Mine's been awesome so far, and today we have another power ranking. And yesterday I took a look at the first 10 teams that I ranked, but today I want to take a look at the 9 teams that are left over. So in no particular order, we have the New York Excelsior, the Toronto Defiant, the London Spitfire, the Vancouver Titans, the Hangzhou Spark, the LA Gladiators, the San Francisco Shock, the Seoul Dynasty, and the Philadelphia Fusion. Now this is an extremely hard decision, and I said it in my video yesterday when I was ranking the Shanghai Dragons. Every single team left in the top 10 can make it to the playoffs and even possibly win a game. So these are all really strong teams in my opinion, but I'm going to have to go with the team that I think will have the weakest season overall compared to all the other teams, and that's going to be the Hangzhou Spark. Now real quick before we jump into the actual power ranking, I want to bring you guys Omnicoach once again. They're this amazing program that offers automatic coaching that will really help you climb up to masters. And you guys need to head over to omnicoach.gg right now because they're doing a limited time promotion. After spending 10 seconds on the main page, you'll get a pop-up on the left side to spin the wheel. And you could win massive discounts and even lifetime access for free. All you have to do is enter your email and click spin. And guess what, guys? They told me whatever I spin on this video, everybody watching gets, so everyone now has a 15% code. It expires tomorrow in 24 hours. The code is KINGmykL. It will be down below. Go enter it, and don't forget to use your own spin because you could win lifetime access. And now let's talk about the Hangzhou Spark. This is an interesting pick, and I spent a lot of time deliberating it, but I'm gonna go with them. And throughout this video, I'll explain why I have them at rank 9, but to get this out of the way, I know some of you guys are gonna be asking about it. Monte Cristo did tweet this out 3 days ago. He said, spent the majority of this week meeting with all the Overwatch League teams, alongside the other casters. Hangzhou Spark hype is getting pretty real, as almost every team has cited them as not only the strongest expansion team, but an overall powerhouse. Then with a follow-up tweet, he said this: the team most similar to this unanimous preseason praise last year was Boston Uprising, for what it is worth. So after seeing this tweet, you would think, oh, okay, I'm gonna rank them higher than 9 in other expansion teams, like the Toronto Defiant and Vancouver Titans, which I haven't ranked yet. But no, I'm not gonna do that. And yes, I know, Boston was a great team last season. And sure, right before the Overwatch League started, a lot of the teams and players were hyped up on Boston. But I'll tell you what, I was hyped up on the Boston Uprising before any of those tweets and any of those teams were saying they were good. I was hyped up on them when the roster was announced. I made a video talking about how Boston Uprising could potentially win the championship, and that was like 3 months before the Overwatch League Season 1 actually started. So I'm gonna have to go with my gut here. I do believe the Hangzhou Spark is going to be a strong team in the league, and as I said earlier, I think they could definitely make it to the playoffs and even win a game. But do I think they're going to be better than the Toronto Defiant or the Vancouver Titans when it comes to the end of the season? I just do not. And as I said, we're going to go into those reasons. So let's start it off now and we'll go over their whole entire team, from the owners to the management to the players, as we usually do with the new expansion teams. Let's jump into it, starting off with the owners of the Hangzhou Spark. We have this company called Bilibili. Now, Bilibili is a video sharing platform in China, and it's really popular. At the end of 2017, it was recorded that they have over 32 million users. But it's not just like our YouTube, it's for specific type of content like comics, anime, stuff like that. And their headquarters are in Hangzhou, and the thing about Hangzhou is that the city is known for anime and comics and all that stuff. So they literally have the perfect fit when it comes to city and owner. And that's where we've seen Bilibili be very successful so far with their Overwatch League team when it comes to branding and marketing. They're one of the most popular expansion teams because of the logo, because of the name, because of the colors that they've used. The promotions that they've done so far, they're pretty damn good. And that's where Bilibili shines. But the issue with Bilibili is that they don't have any experience running any sports organizations. We talked about the Guangzhou Charge. We've talked about all the Overwatch League teams that have sports organizations invested in them. The Vancouver Titans, they're partnered with the Vancouver Canucks. So they have that experience with these professional sports organizations, so they know what the players need and want in order to be able to win. And unfortunately for Bilibili, they haven't partnered with any big organizations, kind of like the Toronto Defiant did with Splice. So the esports and traditional sports experience just is not there for Bilibili, and that's where I have the concerns with them. They nailed the marketing and the branding and the promotion. They're doing great. They have a lot of fans, probably the most popular expansion team, but I do have questions about their experience. They're a big company and they have a lot of money, but that doesn't mean they know how to win or what their players will need in order to win. So that's something we'll have to take a look at. It could make or break a team. But moving on now from the owner, let's go ahead and jump into the management. And the Hangzhou Spark is actually an interesting team. It's hard to find information about them on who's their team manager, who's the CEO, the general manager of Hangzhou Spark. There's no information about that. It just says Billy owns them, and then they have the coaches listed on the wiki page. So we're just going to have to skip the management. I don't know who the CEO is, the GM, or the manager, and we're going to jump straight into the coaches, which they actually do have very strong coaches. I like them a lot. Starting off with the head coach, we have Mask. Now, Mask has had a very successful career, and it's been really consistent because he spent his entire time coaching in Overwatch for X6 Gaming, going all the way back to Overwatch Apex Season 3, where X6 Gaming did qualify for the playoffs, and then with Overwatch Apex Season 4, X6 Gaming making the playoffs once again. Then transitioning into Overwatch Contenders Korea Season 1, this is where X6 Gaming really hit their peak, and Mask had an incredible coaching performance. They obliterated everyone in their way, including Runaway, and took home first place in Season 1. Now, compared to their Season 1 performance, in Season 2, X6 Gaming did underperform a little bit under Mask, but they still made it to the playoffs, losing to Element Mystic 2-3 in the quarterfinals. So overall, really consistent. Mask has never missed the Korean Contenders or Apex playoffs, and even has a championship under his belt. So I'd say the experience that Mask has is great. Also combined with the fact that a lot of X6 Gaming players that Mask spent the last year and a half coaching are moving on to Hangzhou Spark with him. So that's going to be great chemistry there. The guy knows how to coach, and he knows how to create a strong team. So I have a lot of faith in the head coach Mask. Now moving on to the second coach, we have assistant coach Supreme. Now Supreme comes from Team 7, a Korean team that competed in Overwatch Contender Season 2 and Season 1. In Season 2, unfortunately for Supreme and 7, they didn't have that great of a performance, getting almost dead last. But in Season 1, they did have a decent performance, making it to the playoffs and losing to Metabellum 2-3. So that was a very close game. Then prior to that, he did coach 7 in some other minor events. But overall, most of Supreme's experience comes from Season 1 and Season 2 of Korean Contenders, where he had an okay performance. But the good thing about this is also that a lot of the 7 players have moved on to Hangzhou Spark with Supreme. So again, that experience and chemistry factor is going to come into play, and I could see him and Mask as well as the X6 Gaming and 7 players merging and working together very well. And now moving on to the very last coach, who is also an assistant coach, we have Yin Dong, who is Chinese, and he coached the LGD Gaming roster, which is where their main tank Go Shui comes from. So another coach that has prior experience working with players, and also Yin Dong is a former player. He actually competed on that LGD roster alongside Go Shui. So he's got experience being his teammate and his coach. So again, another coach coming in with prior experience to coaching one of the players signed onto the Hangzhou Spark, which is something great. I really do like the experience and the overall chemistry. I think the coaches will mesh well, and my overall guess is that they'll be a pretty strong coaching staff. Now moving on, let's go ahead and jump into the players. And we'll start off with the DPS players, and one of my favorite coming into Overwatch League Season 2, we have Godsby. And Godsby is an incredible hit scan player, and he is also an amazing flex. Not only can he pop off on that Widowmaker, that McCree, headshots left and right, he can also play that Genji and Tracer and be a strong flanker. So overall, I really like Godsby's playstyle. He's flexible, he'll be a great piece of this Overwatch League team. I see him making big things happen. And I really love the duo of Godsby and Mask. So here's the thing, Godsby and Mask have both been a part of X6 Gaming their whole entire careers. Their first tournament ever played as pros was for X6 Gaming in Overwatch Apex Season 3 qualifiers. They qualified and they made every single playoff together, and they won a championship together. So I'm really hyped on that chemistry. They've been together from the start, and I really see Godsby as one of the best performing players on this Hangzhou roster, and one of the best players coming into Overwatch League Season 2 in my opinion. But moving on now and talking about the rest of the DPS players on this roster, this is where I'm a little bit concerned from Hangzhou Spark. Let's talk about Adora and Bazzi, who both do come from Team 7 over with Supreme. Now, of course, it's great that they do have the coaching experience with Supreme, but I'm not that hyped up on Bazzi and Adora. They both did play pretty decent for Team 7, but the issue here is that Bazzi and Adora have overlapping hero pools, and the problem there is that they also have overlapping hero pools with Godsby. Now, I'm sure they can flex. I'm sure Godsby can play the projectile or whatever they need him to play, and then Adora and Bazzi can pick up the hit scan, but Godsby's hit scan is great, and I would love to see Adora or Bazzi pick up the flex role more, and I'm not too sure if they can do that, so I do have questions about these guys. Now, if I had to pick between Adora and Bazzi, I would go with Adora. I feel like he has more experience, and he would be able to perform at a better level than Bazzi, and I think the combo of Godsby and Adora Adora would be nice, but who knows, maybe Bazzi or Adora will really surprise me, but I'm just not as hyped on them as I am with Godsby. Now looking at the fourth and final DPS that is added to this roster, we have Crystal, who is a Chinese player, which is definitely interesting. He did play for the Chinese Overwatch World Cup team, where he had a good performance. He definitely turned some eyes, and prior to that, he does come from T1W Esports, a Chinese organization who has done pretty decent in Overwatch China contenders. I'm not too sure whether he'll get playtime over Adora or Bazzi. Godsby, in my opinion, will definitely be 100% playtime. I think this last DPS spot might be up in the air, but the fact that Crystal is Chinese and the rest of the players on this roster are mostly Korean, the language barrier might hurt him and we might not see him play too much. We'll just have to wait and see. So overall, with the DPS players, I love Godsby. The rest are question marks. We'll just have to see. And let's move on now and talk about the off tank for the Hangzhou Spark. They only have one, and his name is Rhea, and he does come from X6 Gaming. He competed in Season 1 and Season 2 with X6 Gaming under Mask, where they did get first place in Season 1. Prior to that, he did play for RX Foxes in Overwatch Apex Season 4, and he did get 4th place, so not bad. Overall, good experience. He definitely proved himself with X6 Gaming. I think he'll be a solid off tank in the league. Maybe not the absolute best, but I definitely do think Rhea will be sitting up there as one of the better off tanks in the league. And now let's move on and talk about the main tanks of this roster, and we'll start off with No Smite, who also comes from X6 Gaming, and the special thing about him is that he also started off his professional career with Mask and Godsby, and has spent his whole entire career with them, so I feel like these guys kind of have a bond. Godsby, No Smite, and Mask, they've been together start to finish, and they're not done yet. He's always been a solid performing main tank in Overwatch Contenders Korea, and I really think there's going to be a tough decision for this Hangzhou Spark roster on whether they want to run No Smite as their main tank or the next guy we're about to talk about, which is Go Shui, the second main tank of this Overwatch League team, who everyone is hyped up on, including me, who might be the best Overwatch player to ever come out of China. He really impressed the entire world in Overwatch World Cup 2018 with Team China, where they got 2nd place, and overall he always had great performances for LGD Gaming, getting 2nd place in Season 2 of Chinese Contenders as well as Season 1. It's going to be a tough decision, No Smite or Go Shui. They're both really strong main tanks. No Smite, he has that experience with the coach and the players. He's also Korean and doesn't have the language barrier to deal with, but then we have Go Shui, that rising talent, the one that everybody wants to see. But there is a language barrier, which does make me feel like No Smite will get more playtime, but they'll probably throw in Go Shui there sometimes. We're going to have to see though. We'll just have to wait. I hope both of them get playing time because they are both incredible main tanks. In my opinion, it's kind of a situation that London Spitfire and New York Excelsior had in Season 1. 2 really good main tanks, and you just don't know who to run. London Spitfire, they went the direction where they only ran Gesture. That worked out for them. New York Excelsior, they went the way where they kind of split playtimes, and I don't think that worked out for them, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens here with this situation. It's definitely interesting, but now let's move on to talk about this Hangzhou Sparks support roster. And we'll start off with the main support of this roster. We have IDK, and according to a lot of leakers during the offseason, this guy had like 13 offers from every single Overwatch League team. Apparently him and Jexy were the most sought out main supports out of anybody, and this guy just picked and chose who he wanted to join, and that was the Hangzhou Spark. Looking at his career, he's had a very successful one. He spent Season 1 and Season 2 in China Contenders with the Lucky Future Zenith roster, getting 1st place both seasons. And then the good thing about him, rather than a lot of the Lucky Future Zenith players, is that he does have major experience competing in big Korean events like APAC Premier 2017, where he did get 3rd place, losing to GC Busan, as well as Overwatch Apex Season 4 and Overwatch Apex Season 3, where he did get 3rd place, beating Team Envy. So overall, IDK definitely has the experience and the hype behind him. If it's true that he's this good of a main support, then I think they made a great decision picking him up. And now moving on to the last 2 players, we have the flex supports. We have Revenge, who does come from Team 7 and Supreme. Then we have Bebe, who does come from X6 Gaming with Mask, Godsby, and No Smite. And in my opinion, if I had to guess who is going to get the most starting time, it's probably going to be Bebe, because again, guess what guys, he started his professional career off with X6 Gaming. So I'm telling you, this unbreakable bond that X6 Gaming players and their coach Mask have is going to come in huge this season, very similar to the Runaway situation where they have spent most of their careers together, and I really think that will help them out in this season. It's a good thing to come into the Overwatch League familiar with chemistry and coaches that you've worked with before, and that's why I do think Bebe will start. That doesn't mean that Revenge might not be a crazy good Zenyatta and he could come out of nowhere and be the best. It could happen, you never know, but overall, that's the main reason why I see this team being very successful. Their past experience, although their DPS is a little weak, that's one of the reasons I did rate them this low, and I kept some of the other expansion teams like Toronto and Vancouver, so we're gonna have to just wait and see where I rank those guys as well. If you guys love my power rankings, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, leave a comment down for me, and also don't forget, check out Omnicoach. Go do their free promotion spin. You could win a whole bunch of free coaching. I'm telling you guys, it's a great program. It'll really help you rank up, specifically if you're in the lower ranks under like Diamond. It'll help you get up there to maybe even Masters. So check it out. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Have a great day. I'm out of here. Peace.